Chapter 3, Lesson 1 is add and subtract decimals. Now the first thing that I asked you to do in that first page is to scan the lesson and predict 2 things you will learn about adding and subtracting decimals. So, what we're going to learn about adding and subtracting is that when adding or subtracting decimals, we need to line up our decimal points. Also, when we add, we need to add zeros when needed so that both numbers have the same number of decimal places. Okay? In the real world link, it says, one event in competitive swimming is the women's 100-meter butterfly. The table shows the times of different swimmers at recent Olympics. So here we've got our table with Liz McTrickett and Christine Magnunson and Gabriella Silva. And this is their times for the 100-meter butterfly. All right. So it says here. All right. So you can use the place value charts to compare the results. So the first problem says it took Christine Magnunson 37 hundredths of a second longer to finish than Elizabeth Trickett. What was Magnunson's time in seconds? So what is the word in this problem that tells us what the operation is going to be? Thomas? Okay. Longer to finish. How many seconds longer? So, if they're saying how many seconds longer, what operation are we going to do? We're going to add. Very good. Now, that you see down here, you have the tens, ones. This is the whole number part. And then we have tenths and hundredths. Everybody know their place values? Okay, so tenths and hundredths. And now you're going to line up your decimal places so that you have all of the tens in one column, all the ones, all of the tenths, and all of the hundredths. And then if you have thousands and 10,000s, the numbers go on and on. So you just have to make sure your decimals line up so that you have the same numbers in the same place value. Got it? So here we have 56.73 plus 0.37, and now all you're going to do is add like normal. Okay? So when we add like normal, we end up with 10 carry the 1, and that's going to be 11. 6 plus 1 is 7. So we end up with 57.10 is Christine Magnunson's time. Got it?
Yeah.
All right. Number 2. At a high school meet, a swimmer swam the women's 100-meter butterfly in 72.34 seconds. How many seconds faster did Gabriella Silva swim her race? What words there tell me the operation? Gabriella?
Faster.
Very good. How many seconds faster? How many seconds faster? And of course, that signifies that we are going to subtract. Very good. So, once again, we need to make sure that we line up our decimals. Okay? So the decimal and the answer will be in the same place. So you just bring everything down, line everything up. So, we end up with 4. Oh, wait, we're subtracting, right? Yeah. Oopsie. Oh, that one was right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have 4. Oops. 2. And that's going to be, I have to regroup, right? So, we're going to borrow from the 7. That becomes 6. And that's going to be 12 minus 8, which is
4.
4. Very good. And then 6 minus 5 is
1.
1. 1. And there's your final answer. Alright, so to add decimals, and I want you to write this note in your spiral notebook. To add decimals, we want to line up the decimal points, and then you're going to add the digits in the same place value position. Okay? So you're going to line up your decimal points, and then you're going to add all of the tens, all of the ones, all of the tenths, all of the hundredths. All right. So, for example, we want to find the sum of 23.1 and 5.8. Now, before we add, I want to estimate what the answer could be. Okay? So when we estimate, we're just going to round to the nearest whole number. Does everybody know rounding?
Yes.
All right. 5 or more, you round up. Less than 5, it stays
Down. The same.
the same. There is no such thing as rounding down. Okay? You stay the same. So 5 or more, you round up. Less than 5, you stay the same. Got it? All right. So here, 23.1 is about 23. And then 5.8 is about 6. So 23 plus 6 is about 29. So my answer should be about 29. So when I add 23.1 plus 5.8, that gives me 28.9, which is about 29. Is everybody clear?
Yeah.
All right, very good. So let's take a look at this next example. We want to find the sum of 29.6 and 14.7. So first thing we want to do is we want to estimate. Okay? We want to estimate. So 29.6 is about 30. And 14.7 is about 15. So we're going to be around what? 45. So now we can fill in and line up our decimals. So here we've got 29.6. Oops. 29.6. And we have 14.7. And when we add that, we just add like normal. Okay? So that's going to be 13, carry the 1. 14, carry the 1. So we have 44.3. Now, why do you suppose the exact answer is not 45? Close to 45. If I rounded this up, I'm going to get 44, right? Why do you think?
Because rounding up adds some values.
Very good. Very good. So because both of those, in the original problem when I was estimating, I rounded both of them up. So that added a little more, right? Very good. Good. All right. So I want you to take about 3 minutes. Take about 3 minutes and do these 3 problems on your own. Okay? Showing the work, of course. We've got 54.7 plus 21.4. Right? You need to make sure you line up your decimals. That's 11, carry the 1, 76. Okay, so make sure you're showing your work correctly. Okay? Then we've got 14.2 plus 23.5. That gives us 7, 7, 37.7. And then over here, 17.3 and 33.5. And we're adding. So we end up with 8, 10, carry the 1, 50.8. All right, subtract decimals. To subtract decimals, again, we need to line up the decimal points. Okay, just like with adding. line up the decimal points. You want to make sure you line up the decimal points. Okay? Now, when subtracting digits in the same place value, then you want to subtract digits in the same place value position. Now, sometimes when you are adding or subtracting, most importantly with subtracting, you may need to annex or place zeros at the end of the decimal in order to subtract. Okay, so that is a new word for you. Okay, but I'm not sure if it's a new technique for you. Okay, so please make sure you write that down. All right, so for the third example, it says find the difference. What does difference mean? Yeah, the answer to a subtraction problem. So difference means to subtract. So going back, let me just go back real quick. To here. What does sum mean? That means the answer to an addition problem. Very good. So sum means to add. Okay. Good review. Good job. All right. So to find the difference, we're going to subtract. So when we subtract, we have first let's estimate. Okay. So 5.774. That's 5 and 774 thousandths, right? Okay. What is that? How do I round that to the nearest? What's that going to be? That's going to be 6. Very good. And then we have 2.371. That's going to be 2. So 6 minus 2 is about 4. So we're going to estimate that our answer will be close to 4. Okay? So here, let's see. When we subtract, we just line up the decimals again, and then you subtract like normal. Is everybody clear? Yeah. All right. Very good. The next one here, example 4, says 6 minus 4.78. Now when we line up the decimals, that's going to be 6 on the top. Here is where we had to annex the zeros. Does everybody see that? Yeah. Okay. So we had to put the zeros in there so that we could subtract. So we have 6.00 minus 4.78, which gives us 1.22. Got it? All right, so example 5 is we want to find 23 minus 4.216. And again, when we fill this in, we have 23 minus 4.216. Now here, so that we have something to subtract from, we annex the zeros. Very good. We annex the zeros. And then we can go ahead and subtract. Okay? But when I subtract, I can't do this, right?
No.
So I have to borrow from this one.
No.
But there's nothing there.
No.
So I have to borrow from the tens place, right? Oh, but there's nothing there. So I have to borrow from the ones place. Very good. So we're going to borrow from the ones. So that becomes a 2. And then we bring that
9.
Very good. So now I'm going to borrow from that. So I'm going to take that. And that's going to become 9. Okay? And then that's going to be a 10. And then now we're going to borrow again. So that's going to become a 9. And this is going to be a 10. Very good. So now we're ready. We can subtract like normal. So 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus minus 1?
8.
8. 9 minus 2?
7.
2 minus 4?
Can't do that.
Can't do it, so we need to borrow, regroup, right? So that becomes a 1, and then that becomes a 12. So 12 minus 4 is equal to?
8.
Very good. And then we bring down that, whoops, 1.
Come on.
Very good. Is everybody clear?
Yes.
Awesome. So now I want you to take 3 minutes. Very good. So that's how you would do that. So let's see. Let's do letter F. So 14. And then this is subtracting 9.09. 9 and 900, right? Here is where we will have to annex the zeros. Oh. All right, so Reagan is creating a video for the first video. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go straight to the got it problem. And we'll do that together, okay? All right. So, it says, Jonathan is traveling for work. This morning, his GPS indicated that the total distance to his destination is 589 and 4/10 of a mile. Before lunch, he drove 208 and 62 hundredths of a mile. How much farther does Jonathan need to travel? Now let me ask you, what operation are we going to do here? Vincent? Subtraction. Good. What tells us that we're going to subtract? Tyler?
How much farther?
Very good. How much farther? That's what tells us that we need to subtract. So what are we going to subtract? Hundredths. Very good. Now, before I subtract this, what do I have to do? Connor?
Annex the 0.
I need
to put 0.
Very good. I need to annex the 0 so that we have the same number of place values. So now, we just subtract like normal. Is everybody clear? All right, so let's do it. So we've got to borrow here. So this becomes 8. Now we have to borrow again, right? So that's 8, 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. 8 minus 8. 8 minus 0. And 5 minus 2. So 380 and 78 hundredths. Is that my final answer?
No.
What am I missing? My units. What are the units? Miles. And you're done. Is everybody clear?
Yep.
All right, see y'all.